You swallow these pills every night, convinced you are hacking your biology like a pro athlete. But the lab results are humiliating. You are literally flushing cash down the toilet, while your hormones flatline. The industry promised you a massive spike, yet the hard data shows absolutely nothing happened. It is a total scam, but hidden in the trash are two rare formulas that actually fix the problem. Today, I am exposing 8 famous boosters that are completely useless, and the 2 rare ones that actually work. You are likely swallowing these pills right before bed every single night, convinced you are hacking your biology like a pro athlete, but the numbers say something very different. You have been sold a lie that GNC Pro Performance, ZMA, is the secret code to unlocking deep sleep and massive testosterone spikes. The bottle screams about recovery and hormone support, but biologically, you are just overpaying for a basic mineral deficiency kit. This formula is just zinc, magnesium, and vitamin B6 in a fancy bottle. That is it. The brand implies it will spike your T and skyrocket your recovery, but the only solid human trial on ZMA found 0 change in total or free testosterone. We aren't talking about a small dip. We are talking about a flatline. They tested this on resistance athletes doing 8 weeks of hard training, and their hormone levels didn't budge. The guys in that study took 30 milligrams zinc, 450 milligrams magnesium, and 10.5 milligrams B6 daily, the exact same ballpark as this GNC version, and the results were humiliating. So why does the hype even exist? Early marketing rode on tiny, short-term zinc deficiency data, but that simply does not translate to healthy lifters who already hit zinc from steak, eggs, and nuts. If you are not starving yourself, this is essentially a multivitamin with a testosterone-themed label and a higher price tag. The risk is low, but the waste runs high. Money, effort, and hope spent on something that will not move the needle on your T. You are better off testing your zinc levels, fixing a real deficiency, and keeping that cash for gear, coaching, or sleep. But while this one just hurts your wallet, the next product on our list plays a much dirtier trick on your brain, making you feel like it's working, while it slowly wrecks your sleep. This is where the deception gets sophisticated. You see Force Factor Test X 180, Ignite blasting through gym selfies, and dual-action testosterone plus fat burner ads. But most of the burner you feel is just caffeine, not T conversion. The core marketing flag is Testofen, a fenugreek seed extract, paired with EGCG and caffeine for a free testosterone boost with fat loss. It sounds like a dream stack, right? But when researchers put fenugreek to the test in men doing resistance training, the results were modest at best. Libido and satiety improved more than actual hormone levels, with total testosterone moving barely a few points. The product also rides on horny goatweed and stimulants, which can jack up heart rate and anxiety, not your baseline T. For many users, the more drive, more energy they report is primarily from 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine swirling through each serving, not some miraculous herbal tea pump. You get jittery focus, dry mouth, and maybe a crash before bed, all while the bottle implies you're on the fast track to next-level masculinity. If you're stacking this with pre-workouts or coffee, you're flirting with chronic adrenal stress, higher blood pressure, and sleep disruption, all of which can quietly screw your real testosterone over time. This is a classic, feel-like-you're-winning product that turns workouts into stimulant marathons, and that line of thinking leads straight into bar-and-heavy, man-made formulas that promise way more than they can deliver. Muscle Tech Alpha Test throws around words like shilajit, boron, and testosterone support, like they're the secret to a steroid-like physique. But the data is far less dramatic. The packaging looks hardcore, black and red, screaming power. But the boron in the formula can technically nudge free testosterone in some small trials. But there is a massive catch. That effect usually only lasted 1 week in a tiny number of men. When scientists scaled it up to real-world, longer-term use, boron had no meaningful effect on testosterone in healthy, resistance-trained men. Yet the marketing blitz makes it sound like a free pass to higher T. Then, you have the Ayurvedic gold angle of Shilajit. It sounds powerful, but poor quality Shilajit batches have been found to carry lead and other heavy metals. You definitely don't need lead stuck in your liver. On top of that, the formula piles on zinc, magnesium, and KSM-66 ashwagandha at what should be research-relevant doses, yet the whole product is sold as if those few grams alone can flip your hormones like a switch. The reality is that only men with known deficiencies see any measurable benefit from adding boron or extra zinc. Most men buying this are not deficient, they are just desperate. So what people feel from this is mostly a placebo-driven shift in perceived energy and confidence, not a real biochemical overhaul. The more they chase optimization, the more they overlook the basics. And that is the attitude that propels guys into products like the next one, where the price tag is higher, but the real-world impact is shockingly low. You have seen the Nugenix Total T infomercials, the embattled mid-30s dad, the gym-obsessed guy, all suggesting this capsule is the key to reclaiming your prime self. The label leans heavily on fenugreek and tonkat ali, ingredients that do show up in clinical papers, just not at the doses or in the populations the ads imply. They are selling a narrative of getting your mojo back, but the science is thin. One solid trial with fenugreek in men found small libido improvements and tiny T changes. That is nothing like the plateau smashing jumps their increase free T by double-digit points claims suggest. And while tonkat ali at 200 to 400 milligrams in pure extract can move T in stressed or low T men, Nugenix doesn't publicize precise per-capsule doses. You are forced to trust a proprietary blend, not a transparent formula. That marketing gap is where the real problem lives. The brand sells the narrative of natural testosterone replacement, when the actual effect size is gentle nudge territory, not a full-scale hormonal shift. Users often report feeling a bit more focused or a bit more energetic, which can be misread as testosterone magic, when it might just be the placebo layer and the effect of spending money on yourself. On top of that, you're paying $60 to $80 per month for a product that does not come close to replacing the benefits of consistent strength training. The bigger issue for many men is they treat this as a hormone fix and skip seeing a doctor, burying symptoms of fatigue, depression, or sleep apnea under the idea that Nugenix will sort it. From that misperception, the next product feels like a logical step, but it traps you in a cycle. The prime male ads target men over 40 who feel like they're slipping, promising a smart testosterone booster that will restore drive, muscle, and vitality. The label brags about D-aspartic acid, DAA, ashwagandha, fenugreek, zinc, and vitamin D, all of which appear in the scientific literature, but rarely in the doses or contexts promised. It feels sophisticated, but there is a flaw in the engine. D-aspartic acid is the star in the marketing script, but the original 42% testosterone surge came from a tiny Italian study in infertile men, not active gym-goers. Later trials failed to replicate that spike. Even worse, long-term use can actually cause T to crash after the initial bump, creating a boom and bust hormone cycle. You get a temporary flare-up, followed by a valley. The rest of the formula is better than many testosterone boosters, in that it uses real, evidence-adjacent ingredients. But that doesn't mean it's a magic pill. For men who are already getting adequate zinc, vitamin D, and sleep, the incremental benefit is minimal at best. What does shift powerfully is the buyer's self-image. They're doing everything right. So when their body still feels flat, they blame themselves instead of the product. This is the kind of product that makes men delay real medical evaluation for hypogonadism or metabolic syndrome. They convince themselves a single bottle can realign their hormones, like a software update. The more they rely on it, the more they normalize fatigue as just getting older. When you land on the Testogen website, the language is flooded with clinical-grade, fourth-generation formula and category-leading doses. The formula itself, D-aspartic acid, fenugreek, ashwagandha, zinc, vitamin D, boron, B6, and bioperin, is one of the more thoughtful among testosterone boosters. But that doesn't make it bulletproof. It is the kitchen sink approach. They proudly tout 2,200 plus milligrams of D-aspartic acid per day, framing it as a luteinizing hormone trigger that will push your testes into overdrive. The problem, as we just discussed, the only really strong T-spike seen in DAIA was in infertile men. Longer-term or mixed population trials show highly inconsistent results, with some men seeing no benefit at all. The rest of the formula is solid in isolation. Zinc and vitamin D raise T in deficient men. Ashwagandha reduces stress-related cortisol, and fenugreek nudges libido. Yet the actual effect across men tends to fall far below the hype. One meta-analysis of popular testosterone boosters estimated that only about 1 in 4 formulas had any ingredient combination that actually moved the needle in controlled trials. And even then, the T increase is usually in the single or low double-digit percentage, nothing close to a full-on steroid-like shift. For many buyers, the boost is more mindset and money effect than hormone effect, which is why desperate men gravitate toward products that feel more extreme. That is where the line between natural and dangerous gets terrifyingly thin with this next one. Cellucor P6 Extreme markets itself as a pure testosterone support supplement, but the FDA's own files tell a darker story. The brand's earlier P6 line was linked in multiple regulatory reviews to serious liver injury and hospitalizations. These were tied to products that either contained undisclosed steroids or steroid-like compounds. We aren't talking about wasted money anymore. We are talking about organ damage. Between 2009 and 2016, the FDA documented 35 separate cases of men, ages 20 to 48, who developed severe liver damage after using testosterone boosting or bodybuilding supplements. Some of these were sold under the P6 banner. In many of these cases, blood tests showed massive spikes in ALT and AST, the classic markers of liver stress. These spikes were comparable to what you see in cases of steroid-induced liver injury. Manufacturers often disguise these compounds as natural prohormones or advanced testosterone support. But the effects are anything but natural. The body treats these compounds much like classic anabolic steroids, which can lead to cholestatic liver injury, pileosis hepatis, and even hepatic tumors over time. For the average user, the warning signs are subtle at first: unusual fatigue, nausea, dark urine, and yellowing of the eyes or skin. By the time men connect the dots, the damage can be advanced. This is the point where the harmless testosterone booster narrative collapses. Men start to realize that some products are basically oral steroids without a prescription label, and that dangerous precedent paves the way to the worst offender on this list. If extreme DMZ sounds like something ripped out of an underground steroid catalog instead of a legitimate supplement, that's because it is. The FDA has specifically flagged extreme DMZ as one of the designer steroid products that contain dimethazine, a C17-alpha alkylated anabolic steroid. They sell this under the guise of testosterone support or mass gain, but it is biological warfare on your liver. These products are marketed toward young men chasing fast gains, with packaging that screams explosive strength and lean mass. But the fine print does not match the reality. Dimethazine and related compounds can cause rapid liver toxicity, with cases of fulminant hepatitis, jaundice, and liver failure reported in users. Research on these designer steroids shows that even short-term use can spike liver enzymes by 10 to 20 times normal. That mirrors what doctors see in patients abusing prescription anabolic steroids. The long-term risks include liver tumors, permanent enzyme elevation, and significant cardiovascular strain, all for a few weeks of dry mass that collapses once the cycle ends. What's worse, users often combine these products with multiple other testosterone boosters and pre-workouts, creating a perfect storm for organ stress. The FDA has repeatedly warned that these products may also contain SARM-like compounds and other unapproved drugs not listed on the label. The line between supplement and black market drug disappears here, and the only real boost is to your risk profile. Okay, take a breath. We just waded through a toxic swamp of useless herbs, placebo pills, and liver-destroying chemicals. It feels like the whole industry is a scam, doesn't it? But here's the pivot. Buried under all that trash, there are exactly 2 products that actually respect your biology. They don't promise to turn you into the Hulk overnight. They promise to fix the stress and deficiencies that are holding you back. This is what it looks like when science actually wins. Now, if you flip from extreme DMZ to something like Transparent Labs Vitality, the vibe shifts dramatically. The label is short, clean, and transparent. L-Opti Zinc, Primavi Shilajit, LJ100 Tonkat Ali, KSM66 Ashwagandha, and Bioperine. There are no proprietary blends, no hidden stimulants, no secret hormones lurking inside to wreck your organs. The doses are pinned to actual human trials. 600 milligrams KSM66 Ashwagandha, 100 milligrams LJ, 100 Tonkat Ali, 250 milligrams Primavi Shilajit, 15 milligrams zinc, and 5 milligrams bioperine. They are all stacked to support hormone balance rather than mimic steroids. Clinical data show that KSM66 can reduce cortisol by about 15 to 20%, while nudging T upward in stressed men. LJ100 improves the testosterone to cortisol ratio, which is critical for recovery and mood. What you won't see here is the triple-stacked stimulant rush of the Ignite-type products. The benefit is slower, subtler, and more durable. Lower stress, better sleep, and a modest lift in libido over weeks, not hours. The brand is also third-party tested through programs like NSF, which means you're far less likely to get heavy metals or contaminants hiding in the ashwagandha or shilajit. For men who want to move away from feel like a drug products and towards something closer to a real-world, evidence-based approach. Vitality is one of the first legit steps, but if you are chasing the upper tier of natural T support, the next option pushes the formula one notch higher. Inner-body Labs testosterone support is designed to sit at the top of the evidence-based stack for men who want to optimize T without crossing into steroid territory. The formula is laser-targeted: 600 milligrams KSM66 ashwagandha, 600 milligrams fenugreek, 400 milligrams Tonkat Ali, 25 milligrams zinc, 1000 IU vitamin D, magnesium, boron, and B6. Every single dose aligns with what controlled trials show works. The fenugreek piece in Inner Body Labs is not some token ingredient. It's loaded at 600 milligrams, which aligns with trials that used similar doses. In one study, men taking fenugreek reported 28% higher libido scores after 12 weeks, with small but measurable movement in T-pair that with 400 milligrams of Tonkat Ali, LJ100. And you're in the zone where clinical data show 14 to 17% increases in total testosterone in stressed or low-mid T men. This is not the result of a single magic molecule. It's the cumulative effect of reducing cortisol and supporting Leydig cell function. The 600 milligrams KSM66 dose is another gold standard layer. In a trial on overweight men, that precise dose over 8 weeks led to about a 15% climb in serum testosterone and a 25% drop in cortisol. That is huge for someone juggling work, workouts, and life stress. Zinc, vitamin D, Magnesium and boron rounded out in research-aligned ranges. For men with borderline deficiencies or lifestyle-driven drops in tea, getting these right can move tea back into the healthy range more than many boosters ever do. What makes this formula stand out is the honesty. It doesn't pretend to be tea or tea in a bottle. It targets the livers you can actually control, stress and micronutrients, and lets the data do the talking. If any brand on this list shocked you, tell us your story in the comments below. And if you are ready to actually fix your health, just tap the next video on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.